First of all, can you hear me properly?
I can, Wes, thank you.
Brilliant. So, yeah, I think the previous callers have articulated and covered my point better than what I probably could. Yeah, 100%. But smoking for 21 years, and the perceived perception by people is that I should be lazy, not working, and be a criminal. Quite to the opposite. I do anything up to 70 hours a week if possible. I graft extremely hard, and I'm a very considerate person. Like your previous callers have said, the problem is the stigma's being planted into people's heads. People's psyches are now overcrowded with the negativity. Whatever that negativity is there, it's not going to change. So until there's a positive enforcement thrown across the board from as many outlets and as many people as possible, this won't change. You've got to get the positive message out.
How often do you come across the stigma? Because I think we all live in bubbles. Some of us have thicker walled bubbles than others. But, I mean, for me it would be a generational divide in that my parents very much subscribed to the school of thought that drugs was drugs. There was no difference between crack cocaine and cannabis. And when I got into trouble involving cannabis, it broke their hearts. Luckily, before I lost my dad, he'd come round to see the world slightly differently. But I don't encounter much stigma among my own generation, I don't think.
Do you not? I find loads.
Do you? But they think you're a waster. They think you're a waster and a...
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
A waster, a doorhead. Because if they don't know, then all they've got is what they've been fed. And most people don't actually know that I've touched cannabis. Most of my work colleagues, people around me.
Sure.
If I ever did ever let it slip, they're really, really surprised. More than surprised than you'd ever expect. And it's like, wow, really? I'd have thought you'd have been able to tell.
No, because they'd expect you to be coming to work bleary-eyed and drooling and eating 48 sandwiches before morning break.
Yeah.
Jelly sandwiches.
This is the problem. While that stigma's there and while people have got that built into the psyche, they're not going to know anything. So we've got to change the thought.
And it's yet another thing that we just file under some slightly cynical... People used it as a way to scare us, selling tickets for the ghost train. Here's something else you can be frightened of, even though you probably shouldn't be.
While we're talking about it, though, I'm not going to be ignorant to the fact that there are negatives. I'm not for 1 second going to say that there isn't negatives.
What are the negatives? I mean, if you're smoking it with tobacco and you're burning it, then you've got the carcinogens. And what other negatives would you point to? Because that would be quite a helpful contribution.
Brilliant. So just like anything, caffeine, coffee, chocolate, alcohol, excessive consumption of anything is negative for you. So excessive consumption of the wrong THC can have a negative effect on your perception, your mental perception of things. That's just part and parcel because you've got something that's psychoactive that's playing a part in your brain at that moment in time.
Yes.
Stopping certain receptors.
Yeah, it's moderation, isn't it? It's because if you're smoking from dawn to dusk every day, then you're going to have a problem.
Yeah. So
and that's
eating lots of burgers every day, you're going to get cholesterol, you're going to get fat. If you eat lots of sugar every day, you're going to get diabetes, you're going to get fat. So just like anything else, it's just a matter of education. The more education...
Knowledge is power. Wes, I'm glad you did yourself a disservice when you said that.
I've been waiting for this conversation for so long. I've actually took some time out of my way, pulled off of the motorway to pull up and have this conversation, and I wish more people would actually be a bit more proactive like this. And it's actually spurred me to do a little bit more because we don't have this conversation out there. We need it.
Well, I have to point out, I have been having similar conversations because you haven't gone down the medicinal route.
You're sure.
You're new to... I was about to suggest that it may be your fault for not having discovered me sooner, Wes.
Yeah, sorry.
It's 12:30, and you did yourself a disservice when you said that previous callers had done a better job of articulating these points than you. That was lovely. 12:30 is the time. Thomas Watts is here now with the headlines.
Police say they're treating the deaths of 3 people hit by a train in South London as unexplained. Officers were called to tracks near Loughborough Junction at 7:30 this morning. It's thought they may have died overnight. The Prime Minister's announcing full plans for an extra £20 billion in annual NHS funding this lunchtime. Theresa May's been widely criticised for suggesting a Brexit dividend would pay for part of the extra £384 million a week. And in the last few minutes, the government's announced legislation to ban upskirting is to be adopted as a government bill with its second reading in the Commons before the summer break in July. It's after the legislation was blocked in the Commons last week by Sir Christopher Chope. LBC weather, warm sunshine in central, eastern and southern areas. The north and west cooler and cloudier, a high of 25 degrees.
LBC travel, and in North London and Holloway, Hornsey Road remains closed southbound between the Seven Sisters Road and Tollington Road due to overrunning roadworks. In Heston in West London, the Parkway, the 312 is slow both ways towards the traffic lights of the Ballsbridge roundabouts. They're not phasing properly. And an accident in Greater Manchester is partly blocking the clockwise M60 approaching the Swinton interchange at junction 15. For the trains, Greater Anglia and Stansted Express are disrupted from Tottenham Hale to Cheshunt with an investigation, but services to and from Loughborough Junction have returned to normal after the earlier police investigation. LBC Travel, I'm Jaylee.